Hi, judges. My name is Stephen Jast, and I'm the president and founder of Gazelle.ai. Gazelle.ai is the world's only business intelligence platform that uses artificial intelligence to prognosticate corporate expansion. When I started my career in business development 20 years ago, I'd order a database, and a big manila envelope would land on my desk with a thud. And basically, it was a bunch of paper, static information. Nothing in there told me which companies were growing. Unfortunately, the industry has not evolved all that much since that time. What I want to know is which companies are gazelles. Gazelles technically are termed as companies that have a combined annual growth rate of 20%, 5 years in a row, doubling in size. Approximately 3% of all the companies in an economy are gazelle companies. Why is it important to understand who gazelle companies are? Gazelle companies by far hire the most people. They spend the most money in R&D, they invest the most in capital, and essentially, they buy the most of everything. So what's the problem? Gazelle companies are very hard to find. They're not industry specific, they're not geographic specific, they're not size specific, both in terms of revenue or employment, they're not age specific, and they're not VC funded specific. You can literally lose your mind trying to find these companies and connect with them. What we wanted to do was build a database platform, a business intelligence platform that would give B2B marketers first mover advantage with expanding companies. So what we did is we took a training set of 25,000 companies, studied over 800 data signals across a 10-year time series data set, and established the signals that were most indicative of corporate expansion. Our trained algorithms then indexes 8 million corporations based on their likelihood to expand. Who's our team? There's myself, a serial entrepreneur, my business partner, Simon Leroux, who's got really good hair, and then there's our two PhDs, Dr. Jeserich and Dr. Kelly. They're both PhD economists, with the added benefit of Dr. Kelly having 25 years of experience in neural networks and artificial intelligence. Nadine has over 25 years of experience in benchmarking companies and understanding geographically where and how they grow. We're going after a $26 billion commercial database and business intelligence market that we intend to interrupt from now moving forward. Who are some Gazelle clients? Today we have clients like Bloomberg, Aon, the University of Arizona, University of Southern Mississippi. We have key verticals in higher education, B2B. We have 5 of the top utilities across the world using our platform, as well as economic development organizations that use our platform to attract foreign direct investment, such as the government of Singapore. We started building the platform 4 years ago. After 2 years of R&D, we launched. We have 450 users in 15 countries. We have a net MRR of 16%, and our monthly MRR right now sits at $175,000. We're looking to raise a Series A to continue to build out our AI signals for sustainability, M&A, benchmarking, startups, and emerging industries. So as we say, spend more time closing and less time chasing more meaningful business with fast growth Gazelle companies.
Thank you, Steve. Let's go for the questions.
Is the only main product identifying gazelles, or is there any extra products? Because once the company gets the full gazelle list, what's their incentive to pay you a second year, a third year, a fourth year, other than new gazelles?
Well, I gave you the technical term of what a gazelle is. What our platform is doing is it's indexing 8 million companies based on their likelihood to expand. So yes, we're looking for that 3% niche of the gazelle companies, but because we're bringing in new data, new economic data, macroeconomic data, firm level data, the ratings are constantly changing depending on the microeconomic, geopolitical situations around the world. So it's not really a static database. The algorithms are being taught and they're constantly learning how to identify growth companies. So it's not just a question of going to the system once and downloading a list. Rather, these indexes are changing all the time. It's fluid.
Where are you getting your data from?
Our data comes from a mixture of public and private sources. Primarily from the public side, we bring in data from the Bureau of Economic Analysis, Department of Commerce, Census. We do have paid data as well. One particular provider gives us data from the IRS, which shows us very detailed firm level data that we then need to unsuppress and sometimes simulate across some areas to protect the company's identity. But those are the primary sources.
And as a follow-on, who's your buyer?
Our buyers?
Yeah, like in the clients that you've shared, like who's buying your service?
Typically, they're the marketing teams, the B2B marketers who are trying to understand who growth companies are. Growth companies are active and engaged buyers, so we want marketing teams using our platform for better to understand better their addressable market.
And are you global or just North America, US, just given the data
Completely
sources?
global, completely global. We have 8 million corporate establishments around the world, and our clients come from around the world. The federal government of Finland, Sweden, Austria, Singapore, all use our data everywhere.
You said you had access to IRS. Do you have our president's data as well?
Yeah.
Perfect. We should release that, some of that. Sorry. What do you?
I don't have personal tax returns, with corporate tax returns.
Yeah.
So the use case is really interesting for a variety of companies. I noticed you had a lot of educational institutions up there.
Yes.
How are they using this data?
So that's really interesting question. When we first started approaching institutions of higher education, we thought that they would use the platform to populate their technology innovation parks with fast growth technology companies. Then they started using the platform to look for larger, mid-sized companies that would come to the parks and execute R&D with the companies that are being incubated inside the universities. They're also using the platform in their colleges of business and economic development as the leading best practices of how to define a target market, how to identify through different signals which industries are growing, etc. We have over 18,000 custom-made heat maps on the platform, which shows you across 900 industries and 22 economic variables which counties are producing the fastest growth company by revenue in a particular industry, highest revenue, highest salary growth, which would lead one to believe that that particular area is running out of employment. Salaries go up when there's not enough supply to meet demand. So there's a lot of things that a lot of data that we can grab out of those heat maps that tell us a lot about a particular district. So for example, don't go and invest in an area and build a new plant with sky-high labor costs because there's going to be nobody there to hire.
Thank you. Thank you, Steve. One final question?
We're not done.
Yeah. One final question.
Yeah, so revenue is a question that I'm being asked. And just a follow-on question. Which sub-industry has the most gazelles in the United States right now?
Sub-industry has the
so
most...
like not just tech, but like within...
Probably economic development. So we have a very large economic development client base who use our data to attract foreign direct investment or even attract investment from one state to another. So every single...
No, I'm talking about like what industry has the most gazelles in it?
Oh, what is that?
Yeah.
It's a good question. Well, as I said earlier in my presentation, they come across all industries. You can't really look at it that way, but I would probably suggest to you, while not having the answer, probably in IT. You
have to sign up to a service.
You can buy a license.
All right. Thank you.
I'll get you a deal.
Thank you, Steve.